I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows all things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Peace and power to the people that struggle. Peace and power to the people who are true. Yes, universal beings of truth. And as you come on in to this class, know that this is a safe space. Know that this is a space for intelligence, for encouraging thought, for seeking solution. This is a space where we build each other up. This is a space of love. So as you come on in, let your classmates know that, yeah, we got night class tonight. We up in here because I could not rest. I just could not rest without having a build on this topic. Hey, Superstar Rel, peace, Brownsville, what's good? I couldn't rest without speaking on this because you know my field. You know who I counsel. So as my classroom assistants come on up in here, make sure the green screen link is in. Make sure it is encouraged throughout this class. Make sure that we are listening, that we are engaged, so that we can be the embodiment of our belief system and manifest that. Okay? That's how we doing. And again, as always, as always, I have to urge you that if you or anyone you know needs anger management, if you or anyone you know may be in a domestic violence crisis, please reach out for help, confidential help. Book an assessment. Let's figure things out before it gets out of hand. Okay? Now, if you've been in my class, if you've been taking my class for any amount of time, you know I always speak on the lack of protection, the lack of security for our melanated women. The total disrespect, the toxic environments, and of course, the very abusive situations. Now, I've had quite a few examples that I have spoken on in the past. But today, 3 very, very troubling pieces of video, of conversation, just couldn't be delayed. This conversation couldn't be delayed. That's why I'm on so late in the evening. I've been watching, other YouTube spaces, other Instagrams, and again, the only way that we are able to correct ourselves is through speaking, articulating the information, right? And then being engaged in the practice, in the process, right? Of creating different points of history, creating different situations, creating different themes. Because we are all products of the themes of our lives. What these quick moving entities do to shape us. So when you change your setting, when you tweak your belief system, when you create new themes, you are living an experience where you can mature healthy, and in that maturity find a true love of self and love of others, a love that extends out. So that's the only way we can correct it. We cannot correct it by witnessing it, turning our head, by pointing fingers, turning our head, by making an attempt to ignore it when sometimes it's going on in our home with us. So I'm watching these videos and I'm getting this information and I'm researching these three troubling uh, attacks on melanated women. I say, well, listen, I have to, be very specific when it comes to this conversation because people like to run from it. Most of the people who I do give sessions to, whether they're on social media in class or not, um, they're well aware of how committed I am to making sure that that change takes place within them, especially if they're going through one of these situations. They also know that when we're speaking on domestic violence, right, in training, we have learned that when you use that title, people have become accustomed to believing that domestic violence only occurs between uh, a couple. And we all know, especially if we witnessed it or been through it ourselves, that domestic violence is domestic violence, right? And in that, there are many different spaces and different individuals, that can fit up under the category of being abusive, which is why, later on, the term intimate partner, right? Intimate partner relationship violence, okay, has been used more frequently than just domestic violence because, you have fathers who abuse their daughters or abuse their sons, right? You have siblings who abuse each other, cousins, right? Employers, right? Uh, people who work together, co-workers, you know, these are domestic situations and environments. And in that, when that violence is exercised or when that abuse, right, you have to know the difference between, right, uh, an abuser and the many layers of abuse and a batterer, which is somebody who batters, who's violent, and knowing, you know, how to be brave enough to ask for help or brave enough to get up out of that situation, how to recognize some of the signs of it. So when we're looking at this first case that's coming out of Georgia, um, the disgusting piece for me is that these individuals were so young and there was a documented pattern of abuse of this young woman. Um, when I say young, she's no longer with us, 19 years old, Kalia Jones. And As you all know, we all celebrated my daughter's 18th born day this past June. And I couldn't imagine the amount of anguish, the amount of pain, the amount of loss that that family is going through. And in those spaces, counseling, right, especially trauma counseling, is something that should be afforded and should be taken on by the family, which I'm sure it will be, because this case is regional, but it is going through social media, so soon it'll be national news and even international news. But like I've been saying, as I've been saying for many, many years now, the attacks against melanated women have skyrocketed. I mean, skyrocketed. And there seems to be no stopping. There seems to be no pause. It seems as though we are really being dismissive of it. And that's a trigger for me. Anytime we can be dismissive to Black women, you know, going through this, that's a trigger. Because I've witnessed it often, and many times the fix, I mean, at least for me, was quite simple. You know, when I was out there like that, you know, when I was able to address situations impulsively. Never happened on my watch. So as I look at this young girl, and the case, if you aren't aware of it, when you do your internet searches, your YouTube or Google searches, you'll see this 20-year-old Cameron Hopkins. This 20-year-old man went to what they're calling his ex-girlfriend, right? Went to her job, accosted her, picked her up, drove off with her. And as police was arriving on the scene, they seen the car that matched the description, gave chase, and by the time he was cornered off by police, he had let go some shots at them, and before they could react, he ended up shooting this young girl several times, and she died on the scene, and he was subsequently arrested. He's 20, she's 19. And when you're going over the case, you'll find that I believe they're calling her his ex-girlfriend, because last year when she was 18 and he was 19, he attempted to kidnap her. Same scenario, you know, went to, you know, either a mall or place of business, you know, started, you know, being abusive, but this time he wasn't alone. That previous time, rather, he wasn't alone. He had a 33-year-old man with him, whether it was a friend, a family member, 33 years old, watching and participating in that. And at that time, she was able to escape, run off, and those two were arrested. So there was a history of this young woman going through this at the hands of this young man. And as I said, when it comes to relationships, man, there's a maturity level that our men, our young men, right? We're going to stay here, but our older men are kind of off with it as well. But this generation, our new generation, this generation here, we're watching them being overstimulated, over-sexualized. Nothing is more important than somebody getting in somebody's grippers. Somebody got something in their mouth. This, that, all this old, weird shit. We're watching it all over. Social media, television, literature, books, everywhere. You're in a space where that's all that matters. Right? This physical, this contact, this touch. And when people, young or old, are not mature enough to deal with that, it gets ugly. So if I'm witness to us, and I'm talking about, and some of us in our 50s are still stupid when it comes to respecting boundaries, when it comes to knowing when is when, and just being in each other's presence. We take on this very selfish stance. And selfish, I'm talking about selfish spiritually, selfish intellectually. You understand? We in a terrible space. Why are you always hearing these conversations? This men against women, this rainbow thing, right? Single, married, this, that, third, it's and none of it has anything to do with freeing ourselves. But again, it is weaponized. So when I look at these young folks and I'm like, ain't no way in hell nobody is going to be in a position to claim mine. Right? And I'm only using mine in the sense that when we're speaking in this language and in these tones, I mean the daughter that I was blessed with. Right? Not mine in that I own her, but mine who she has allowed. Right? Because that's what that is. Our children, though we birth them, though we raise them, though we educate them and feed them, they do not belong to us. They don't belong to us. You understand? Not in the sense that we own them. We do not own these children, these little people. They will grow up. They will leave home. They will have experiences of their own. They will acknowledge us for who we are. Luckily, some may not. But that is the human condition. That is just who we are. But as long as that one is in my house, that long as that one is giggling, long as I'm taking care of that one there, there's not a young boy, there's not a young man, that is not an old man. There's not a young woman or old woman or middle-aged woman that will ever claim ownership over that little girl. Or the boy for that. And my boy 30. You understand? No one owns anyone Let's get that straight. So I'm very, very, very empathetic to what these parents must be going through, what that family must be going through when this young woman lost her life at the hands of this little nigga, whoever he may be. Do you understand? Whoever he may be. Because I don't know him. We just know what we read. We see the look. And then we make assumptions and judgment calls based on how he looked, how it is written about. But again, there was a documented history of abuse, of trouble, of turmoil when it comes to them. Now, again, we don't know what measures the family may have taken. We don't know anything. We don't know where they live specifically, their financial makeup. We don't know what took place. We don't even know if at some point she began to rekindle some type of acquaintance with him. But we do know the end result. And that's what I always talk about, that there are critical and specific signs of abuse between people. Shit, you can have abusive friendships that are very toxic and abusive, and people don't understand it and realize it because many of the times an outsider, a clean outsider, an outsider who has anything to do with it, is not witness to it. I see groups of girls who consider themselves friends be very abusive and nasty, and others are enabling the abuse, and others are against amongst each other for years. We are in it, and she may be abused within her friendships, abused within her relationship, and have no idea who she is and what she's going through because it's been layered and it's been going on for so long. I see it all the time. All the time. Because we are not owners of ourselves the way we should be. We can only own us. That's it. And because of the trials, because of the themes that we have lived through, we haven't figured out how to do that part yet. How to be a custodian of ourself, how to love ourselves, how to demand the best for ourselves from ourselves prior to going out and sharing ourselves with another, sharing ourselves with a group, sharing ourselves, period, in this very dangerous world. Again, we have not learned, we have not been educated to love ourselves prior to dealing with others. So when the abuse comes, and it may be a familiar energy, we are more prone to tolerate it. We are more prone to fall back on our coping mechanisms on how to deal with it, instead of making sure it doesn't happen. That's a practice. That's a behavior. That's a belief that you have to be educated on. No one will tell you that. I mean, I will, because this is what I do. Others can't do it. They don't know how. So they can gossip. They give you the hip hop news. They give you sports news. They may be able to give you everything on the Panthers and all that. But they can't give you what I will give you. Because they don't work in it. So they are equipped, they're ill-equipped to speak to these abusers the way I'm able to, the triggers, right? The symptoms, the know-how, and to talk people through it if they are traumatized and stuck in it. They can't do that everywhere else. They can't. They can't. That's why they won't speak on it. And many of them are abusers themselves. So they damn sure don't want to sit through this topic. Nah, there won't be 200 people in here like it was last night. Because some of the most conscious and woke are the most abusive. You understand? They don't get it. They can't speak to it. And really, again, don't know how to read this information and place it in a space where we can all benefit from the conversation. Let's put it in perspective here. A 19-year-old girl was shot and killed by a 20-year-old ex-boyfriend right in front of police. This young black child, who again, after a documented history of violence, for all we know, no one intervened on it. So again, as I said, time and time and time again, where's the protection for black women? Where is the militancy when it comes to securing the black woman's body, to making sure that she is safe? Now that's just the instance here in Atlanta. Well, here in the States, in Georgia. The next viral moment that I come across is overseas in Nigeria, where some Nigerian influencer, Austa, I believe her name is, was just stabbed. Well, she was killed. There's reports coming in that she was stabbed and mutilated, where he allegedly cut off her breasts and stabbed her in her private areas, and now he made a confession and left all type of messages on social media about offing himself. Again, these are young people who, and I'm starting to believe that when they get to these extremes, like when we watching the Blueface abuse, when we watching all these things go on with our young people, I'm starting to believe that these are these young people's first experiences, right, with being in close and having these feelings and emotions for one another or one for the other. Because when you're well seasoned, it don't get that deep. It's not that deep. But if you don't know, you understand, if you have limited experience with that and you are in your mind, in your twisted mind, believing that life ends when you're not in a relationship with someone who you are believing that you love, yeah, that's some novice shit. And again, because our children have been over-sexualized in the culture, over-sexualized in school systems, over-sexualized in society, and they're not mature enough to handle it, they go extra. So now, again, this is overseas, which, and Again, we don't want to be stereotypical, but we do know men from overseas are very light with their hands when it comes to women. Very abusive, very demanding. It's a belief system. It's what they do. So as we seeing it is now, since the culture, right? How we dance, how we merge different genres, right? How we are interacting in fashion and arts, and we watching Nigerian movies on a regular basis, and Afro beats and all that. So now we're witnessing and living through, right, groups of melanated people, right? And we're watching the behaviors, and we're seeing, yeah, wow, there is a difference in belief systems and how we move. That them men real light with their hands over there. All right, so we see this now and the young man name is Killaboi. I guess that's his stage name. I guess that's his other persona. And he, stabbed to death his girlfriend. Right? It's very, 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 very disheartening. But we've been watching it. And it's been getting worse over the decades. When it should have really slowed down or stopped by now, because you have so many people who claim to be woke, who claim to be conscious, who claim to have some type of higher intellect, but they don't understand what's going on with them when they get into what we want to call relationships, right? When we want to relate, we want to hold each other. You understand? It's gotten really, really out of hand. And I, for one, since I'm in the work, since I'm dealing with it, I'm going to tell you, it looks very, very one way, because this is our group, this is who we talk to, this is who we are among, this is how our timelines run through. It's like, damn, all these black women are being abused and beat up, because really it's not us. But I can tell you that in a group, I have groups of 30 men on a Zoom. And I tell you, shit, out of that 30, man, I'm telling you, you want to get 18 others who are not melanated men coming to class. I had men from all over, especially right before the pandemic, when that influx of people from Afghanistan and people coming from Europe, right? The Albanians, man, they was coming through in droves. Indians, people from Bangladesh, these men were coming. They had to take this domestic violence class because they done beat their kids. They done caught these ACS cases. And I'm like, whoa, So this is genuinely, right? We talking about an issue that is global when it comes to women. Salute, Jules. What do you think of Illinois Supreme Court rules cash bail can be eliminated? That's an entirely different bill. We'll build on that when we build on California. And like I said, this system of capitalism is built off of, right, prison, the penal system. But in order to house these individuals, where's the return, right? Before you would go in, you would get a trade, you'd be rehabilitated, you'd be pushed back out. If you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. You're on your way back in, right? But there's no true rehabilitation in prison. So when they cut these bails, it's because the prison system is exploding and they can't feed them. And they're not getting quality labor out of them because we have been pushed to a technological age. And you have people who are illiterate, unlearned, in the streets doing crime, frustrated because their bellies are touching their back. They don't understand it. Boom, you send them to jail. What labor you getting out of him? He's not going to be making computer chips. There's only a certain population, right, that can do that. So they're knocking you off. Not only are they, again, taking away bail, but on the inside, you're taking away solitary confinement in certain ways to punish the most criminal-minded. So now you're allowing them to kill each other off. So it's a win-win for them. This is what it is. This is what it is. But our thing is, hey, how do we fix this? You dig? How do we fix this? How do we fix our women issue? Because when you fix the issue of domestic violence, when you fix people who don't know their triggers, when you fix people who are ill-equipped to love, to nurture, to have conversation, to communicate, to engage with each other, that goes and spills over into, a criminal mind state. So you got these young people, you pump their heads and hearts with all this wild shit, and you get their little loins in an uproar, and you don't teach them, you don't educate them on how to socialize with each other. You allow them to believe that any type of behavior is acceptable. You allow them to dehumanize each other when they don't have certain clothing, can't afford to eat in a certain space. And you give it a energy of importance. There's nowhere else to go. Because frustration, boom, that's a trigger right there. Bow. Now you angry. When you angry, what do you do? How do you respond? How do you lash out? Who are you going to lash out at? The closest people to you. So when a young man is raised in a space where he doesn't believe that no means no, or that, okay, it's over, this isn't working out, I'm not wanting to be around you anymore, and that doesn't compute, this is what we up against. Do you understand? So now it's murder, death, kill on black women. Well, my question is always, where are the families? Where are the families? Because the family get together for the get together. We get together for the get together. We get together for the shower. Oh no, now it's the gender reveal. We get together for the gender reveal. We get together for the rival. We get together for the get together, for the get together and the drink and the get together and the eat. But when there is help needed, when there's clarity, nobody in the family knows how to speak to that. But we're going to get together for the funeral. We're going to get together for the repast. We're going to get together for the vigil. But we don't want to get together to preserve life. We don't want to get together to support those who speak love and life into our people. And by the time it smacks you and it falls in your lap, you got the why me look. We have to be in a space where we are protecting each other, where we are loving each other, where we are able to check each other in real time. Again, these are things that went viral. Now, this next video I'm watching is of a Somali woman who was beaten by her brother because he dishonored her. He dishonored the family because she was dancing in the TikTok without her hijab. And beat her. Merciless. I'm like, and you looking, and she giving a split screen. She's showing the dance and then showing what she looked like and screaming and crying out. Speed knots, all, I mean, and from what you're reading in the comments, that's light. You actually have men speaking and saying she's lucky he didn't take her out of here for dancing on TikTok. Not in a bikini, not in a thong, right? Not on no Suki Giannis, not on no Global, not on no Nikki, not on, nah. You understand? Because she didn't have her job. But again, you got people dehumanizing others by saying, well, you ain't got the passport, you can't fly out, you can't go to the continent, you can't go to Egypt, you can't do what I do. But those people in those spaces are whipping women out, killing women in the name of honor for a dance. This is how messed up we are. I'm talking about as a group of men. This is where we at with it. And these are our celebrities, right? These are supposed to be our more affluent, most resourceful. These dudes got them. Just watch Floyd Mayweather do the dumb shit. Watch him do it. I run through passports. I'm over here. Got my feet up. Look at the land. Look at the landscape. I'm doing it. Y'all can't do it like this. As if that shit means something. This is where the minds are. When I come through and I'm saying that you all are universal beings of truth. So you, in its essence, are part of the whole universe. So the earth is small in terms of universes. But we so small-minded that we brag that because we're in a system, we're in an institution that's ran by Euros, that's ran by masses, slaveholders, and they give you little chips, little piece. So if you getting a billion, they making 20, 30, 40 billion off you, your small-minded ass can sit there and say, yeah, I'm doing it. Because you can go from one piece of the earth to the next. COVID prices done slashed anything. Any one of us could go to Egypt or Timbuktu or whatever. That shit ain't nothing now. Anybody could book a flight and go over and go to the same spaces, but this is where we're at with it. So when I keep saying, guard your mind, because they got your mind fucked up. We watch a brother. She ain't say her husband, her father, her brother beat her down, put eye jammies and speed knots on her. Are you serious? Because she danced on TikTok? Do you know the pull, the influence that this technology has? A lot of people are not mature enough for it. So they get consumed in it. And she had a moment, and he beat her down. But you got dudes here, native to this country, slaves of these crackers, that's telling you that you ain't shit because you can't fly out to where they fly, right? Though they kids is a mess, though you can't read or write. This is the spillage. This is the spill down. This is what comes out. This is what it's about. The dumbing down of men who were once great. We were great. And it seems as if nobody wants to get back to that. Because they only want you woke enough to deal with your conditions. They don't want to awaken you to change your conditions. They want to keep you dumb enough so you don't go against the grain. And that's all of them. All of them. Tell them I sent you. Tell them I said it. From Baba Kameni and Smalls and Polite and all of them. They will talk that shit just enough for you to stand at Whitey door. Won't tell you how to kick the door down. Won't tell you that you don't need them. They won't look you in the face and give you a very direct answer to why 20-year-old black men are killing 19-year-old young black women while the community watches, while she reached out for help, while there was a record of it, of the danger, of the toxic relation. They won't tell you that. And that is happening. It's happening in their families. They won't tell you that. I know some of them. I know them. But they'll sit here and quote book after book and yap. Talking bullshit. No end result. No solution. So how do we recognize it? Listen, because Because I hate doing it. Because people believe that I do shit and speak it. And wear it as some type of badge of honor. There ain't no honor. When we talk about domestic violence, when we talking about these abuses, listen, I don't care what books you read. From who? You care if it's Sheikh Anta Dia? You care if it's Amos? Jawanza Kunjufu? Naeem Akbar? Or none of them have dealt with what we're dealing with today in terms of this violence at the hands of black men that our women are going through. You're not. The fuck are you telling me about Egypt 5,000 years ago? Are you telling me how they handled each other in relations? Where's that? You telling me about the Panthers in the 70s? I can tell you about the Panthers in the 70s. How many of y'all understand how many of them women were getting their ass whipped in the ranks? How many of them women had to arm up and pull a pistol on some of them knucklehead ass dudes that was in the ranks? And how that wasn't spoken about within the context of sitting down in these breakfast programs, in these health programs. That in the course of that, at the end of the night, they smoking herb and drinking, which allowed them to become custies as soon as trauma hit. How do we deal with that? What are the signs of that? And again, the main catalyst for it is because these people try to own each other. Because as a man, that's my woman. As a woman, that's my man. Trying to own each other. But when Whitey owned you, you didn't like it. So why put the same type of enslavement on each other? You don't own each other. Keep your hands off each other if it's not in a loving embrace. They're not telling y'all. They're not teaching you that shit. You don't own me. I don't own you. The first principle of revolution, of radicalizing people, knowing that we own ourselves. That is it. And no one should oppress us. No one should own us. And we damn sure shouldn't be in a space where we are self-oppressing. Where we enslave ourselves under any institution. I don't give a fuck what it is. Whether it's an institution of marriage, whether it's an institution of labor, whether it's an institution of anything. Make yourself a slave to who or what? Because when you do that, when you're enslaved to a human, when you're enslaved to a person, when you're enslaved to a title, husband and wife, then you can't be free and think that you're going to give anything to a higher power. You done enslaved yourself to fucking somebody under ownership. Not ready for that conversation, huh? Shit make you fidget a little bit, huh? Yeah. This is why we can't get past the hump. This is why there's no unity. Because when people get together, they got a lot of shit in them. They got a lot of master's traits in them. They don't want to replace and change that characteristic. They want to be masters. That's why they got dogs. That's why they got dogs in the hood. Everybody got a dog because you want to own something. You want to oppress something. You want something to be under your charge at any given time. That's why the communists eat them shits. They don't give a fuck about no dog. Eat that shit. Dog don't love nothing. You got people believing that we can have a communication with that. And you know, that's my dog. But he eats your baby. Because you don't know that when he got Alzheimer's. You don't know when he going through dementia. You don't know if he's psychotic. You could talk dog. You speak bark. But in your sickness to own and to oppress, you get pets and shit. Because that's how Master has you up under his feet on a porch. Feeding you, walking you. They have our people conditioned to own. So when you can't, when somebody's a free thinker, when they have a free heart, and they say, I don't want to be abused by you. You're not treating me right. I'm gone. Their response is to self-destruct. If I can't have you, no one will. This is what we're dealing with. And we're dealing with it with younger and younger people. I couldn't rest tonight. Can't rest tonight. Nah. Because, you know, people need to know. They think I just talk off the cuff. Nah. Because if Whitey's the ultimate abuser, I got to learn from Whitey. So that my people can understand in the language and the communication by which we talk to each other. So I got to give it to you like that. Say, yeah, nah, I've been trained by the best. By the best of them. We talking domestic violence and people who batter. What is this? Domestic abuse intervention. This is the Duluth model. This is what I do, right? Study all the time. Notes, you know, this the Duluth model. This the model. That's the model, right? That's domestic violence. When I'm in that space, people from all over the world, take that. Take those courses. And then go back to their spaces. People from London, people from Australia, right? People from Fiji Islands, Hawaii, people here as far as South Dakota and all that coming to, because these people have been working for decades. To give you what's the signs, what's the trigger, that's why it all meshes together. Anger management, when you control your anger, then you understand what you're going through when you're seeking to control people. That leads into the domestic violence. Why speaking and talking. And work so hard at it. Because once you can do that, then you're able to get people into a militant mindset of how we need to get up out of the way of our ultimate abusers. But we can't fix it within ourselves and within our communities, and we damn sure are going to be ill-prepared to deal with them. That's the ultimate abusers. So miss me with all that shit. You watch this one, you watch that one, I watch this one. Oh, that one is deep, this one deep. Them niggas ain't shit. whether it's now, whether it's 5 years now, 10 years from now, this is where you should have been. This is where it's at. This is the love space. What other weirdo shit y'all got going on can't touch this. Every class is a class of intelligence and love and solution. So when we seeing this shit, we're like, hold on. What's going on? Why my daughter moving funny today? Why my son acting weird today? Come here, what's going on with you? Talk to me. You don't know what they going through if you're not engaged. And you can't be engaged if you're not there. Salute to Ron Clark for the green screen. First one tonight in the hour. Salute, salute. No, somebody else gave me a second green screen. Salute. You know? I watch the rest of them. I see them. I see it. Looking at their chats fluttering. Bow, 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 bow. They getting it. All they talk, ooh, sip the wine. Ooh, sip the wine. Ooh, get the hammer. Boom, boom, boom. Can I get a hotel? Can I get a hotel? And people flooding their shit. Oh, word. Ain't telling them shit, nothing. That's what it is. But I'm good with it. Why? Because I know what I'm dealing with, what I'm working with, where I'm going. I save more lives every day than any of them. That's just a fact. With nothing. And let me tell you why they move like that. Let me tell you how these podcasters, how these YouTubers, Instagram influencers, and all this weird shit, TikTok, and this new shit Karim Abdul-Jabbar got. No, let me tell you why they move like that. Because whether you know it or not, and you should know it at this point, because y'all not young. Even when we had TV, when we was rocking with cable on a regular basis. Whether you support knowingly a channel, you're paying for it. That's why a lot of people got rid of their cable subscription, started with the, what you call them, Fire Sticks and all that. I don't even watch that, but I'm paying for it. These YouTubers know that. These podcasters know that. So they like, well, damn. Because when you pay your service, whether it's AT&T, whether it's T-Mobile, whether it's that other shit, all them people eat. YouTube eat. Facebook eat. Instagram eat. You paying for that. You making sure all those other entities that hate you, all the murals that hate you, they eat off of that. Because you're paying your subscription bill. So they good. Now you come to these little favorite spots that you, now I'm going to go to this channel. Nah, he be dropping over here. Oh, she's hilarious. And you support them or not. They figure that shit out. They like, hold on. They pay for them. They're going to pay for me too. So they start with the scams. They start with the misinformation. They start with the heavy merch. You paying Whitey. They figure you might as well pay me too. But see, Whitey providing a service. Right? That's what they do. That's your service provider. They providing your service to the internet. These niggas ain't providing y'all no service. Entertaining you. That's why so many of them. It's entertainment. Look at the Charleston White Act 4. Entertain. See Vicky Dillon, and all the funny ass hats, entertained by that shit. No service being provided. None. But they make sure you pay them. Make sure. Because they in the same mindset as master. I got to get to the bag. So I could go on a trip like Floyd and kick my feet up. But the people that are doing the work, that really have love for you because they struggle with you, don't get supported. So either they doing it because they actually really love you, or they out their goddamn mind, right? That's what y'all think. And they gonna always be there, so we gonna just keep, we ain't gotta pay them, we gonna watch them, we ain't gotta pay them. We ain't gotta support them. That's where you at with it. That's why they do it to you like that. Because they figure, shit, they support Whitey, they supposed to support me too. But ask them what service are they providing. Ask them what are they doing for you. Ask them how many times they in the communities with y'all. They can't answer you. See, Whitey could come and answer you. He'll answer you. In fact, AT&T will sit down and give you the whole lineup. We donated here, here, here. We do this, this, that. You know, our black employees got access to this, 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 that. Because they are service providers, and you're going to pay them because you want your phone on. But are you willing to support the love that you get from those that love you? Woo! It got to stop somewhere. It got to begin somewhere. There has to be a love before revolution. Before one is radical, one must understand the love of self. So if you're not willing to put the resources into yourself and those who love you, then you're willing to be on the other side. You're willing to be a victim. Straight like that. And that's abuse. When somebody can sit there every day for 2 or 3 hours and not give you any type of return on your investment in time, that's abuse. Because it's power and control. They're controlling you. Or you are allowing them to. So again, don't believe in me, believe in my belief in you. There's specific signs that someone is being abused. There's behaviors. There's distancing themselves. There's separation from family, from friends, from people. There's a lot that goes on. Keep your eye on it. If something looks weird, man, don't be afraid to address it, to ask, to inquire. Some people don't know how to reach out for help, so therefore you have to dig in. Are you okay? Especially if you claim that you love them, if they're family. We gotta stop these little black boys from killing these black girls. You gotta listen to the signs. You gotta see these dudes making songs. This DDG dude made a song. Darius Jackson got on social media. These are telltale signs of somebody that's getting ready to unravel. And his response to how he's triggered could be a violent one. Zurich, Switzerland. What up, Gressler? So again, especially our men with daughters, man, you would want to change some of the behaviors of your peers, of your other men, because you got a daughter here. I'm telling you, zero. I'm on zero chill. When anyone who think they're gonna put hands on mine, and teach them to make sure they love themselves enough to see the signs quickly and to remove themselves. That's what encouraging self-love is. Not because somebody played all up in your panties or shook in your little boxer briefs. That shit ain't about nothing. That's nature. People gonna hump on each other. That's just what we here to do. That's nature. That ain't got shit to do with nurture. Nurturing healthy, mature relationships. That shit ain't nothing. Ain't nothing. You ain't cute. You ain't handsome. Ain't none of that shit. Ain't nothing to do that. Alright? So again, I appreciate my classroom assistants for coming through and holding it down. I appreciate the 76, 78, 80 people that was here. Again, you title a piece of content a certain way, people gonna run. It is what it is, but I had to get that off because we're in a dangerous space. I'm telling you, we're in a very dangerous space and time when black women can continuously be attacked and attacked and attacked. Not just here, but globally, it's not good. And we have to start to change it. All right? Well, salute. Enjoy your night. Shit, I got to go take it down. Yeah, y'all got to take it down and, again, make an attempt to make a world a better place for our people so we can enjoy what the universe has for us. Don't get stuck here. Don't get stuck on stupid. We are universal beings of truth. The whole of the universe is ours. We have to run. We have to study. We have to be engaged in all of it. Be stuck on no goddamn little space. A hotel resort or some old dumb shit. That's limited in your greatness. Okay? And women, don't settle for the first one that tells you he like how your ass is shaped or how your feet smell. Stop getting into that little bullshit. Okay? And ain't shit special about that. Somebody else ass shaped like a pear, yours shaped like an apple, hers shaped like an onion. It don't matter. The hell that got to do with getting you free? Nigga, you gonna get me free? Let's talk about it. The hell. All right? Salute. Peace.